Welcome to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter game review. Today's game we're doing is Radiant by Randall Marsh. It's for 2 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes, and we assume about ages 12 plus because that's about the difficulty of the game. Radiant plays like a game of hearts, but it includes set drafting mechanics, area control, and a few other interesting mechanics that make it a very different and interesting game. Okay, let's get into the review. In the beginning of Radiant, players will choose one of the 3 colors. In the 4-player version, it's broken down into 2 teams of 2, so one of the colors won't be used. You'll then place your starting marker on the number 1, and you'll place the movement marker in the center of the board. You'll then determine the Radiant color by flipping over the top card of the deck and matching it to the appropriate color. In this case, we have the red, or the Sky People. I'll get more into that later in the game. After the board has been set up and tokens have been distributed, players will receive a hand of cards based on the amount of players in the game. You'll then deal out a 3x3 grid to begin the drafting phase of the game. After the board has been set up and the cards have been distributed, you begin the 3 phases of the game. The first phase is the drafting phase. During the drafting phase, each player will draft cards until everyone has taken 4 cards. After that, you will begin the meld phase, which is where you score points based on the cards that you've drafted and that you were dealt. Then you go into the war phase. During the war phase, you'll play cards in a trick-taking style game and attempt to control territory on the board. After you've completed all 3 phases, the round is over. After 3 rounds have been completed, the game ends. In between each round, there is a cleanup step in which the points increase and you do a few other things. We'll get more into that later. Now on to the drafting phase. During the drafting phase, players will take a single card and replace it with the top card of the deck. This will continue until each player has taken 4 cards. During the drafting phases, there are 2 reasons to pick up cards: to either score points during the meld phase, or to get stronger cards to win during the combat phase. After the draft phase, you go into the meld phase, which is where you score points with the cards in your hand, based on the cards that you drafted and the cards that you were dealt at the beginning of the game. You do this by revealing the cards in your hand. When revealing cards from your hand, the 4 things you can reveal are a Council of Elders, which is 1 Elder from every color, a Army, which is 1 card of every rank in the same color except for the Assassin, the Assassin's Guild, which is 1 Assassin of every color, and a Mounted Knight, which is 1 Knight and 1 Mount from the same color. Each of the different melds has a different point value. After each round, the point value will increase. After the meld phase, you go into the war phase. During the war phase, players will compete for control of territories with the cards in their hand. The person with the most cubes in a territory at the end of the phase will score points for that territory. During the war phase, the person with the most scouts in their hand gets to determine where the movement marker goes. They do that by moving it into any adjacent space. Once they have moved into a space, combat will begin. When playing cards from your hand, you play either cards corresponding to the color of the region that you are in, or cards that are the same as the Radiant color. In this example of play, we'll use 3 players. The first player plays a purple card, which is of no real value because we're in a green zone and it's not the Radiant color. The second player plays a red card, which is the Radiant color and can be played in any zone. The third player will play a green card of a higher rank than the Radiant color and will win this fight. Because the green player won, he'll take all of the cards that were played and put them in front of him. During the third round, this is important because there are certain cards that have currency on them. These are worth bonus points at the end of the third round. Now that the green player has won the battle, he gets to put his marker in the conquered territory. After that, the next round of play begins, with him deciding which adjacent territory he would like to move the tracker into. This will determine where the next fight will be. Play will continue like this until all players have depleted the cards in their hand, or only one player has cards left. If one player has a card left in his hand, he automatically gets to play a free combat round where he is the victor. After this, the scoring phase begins. During the scoring phase, players will count how many cubes they have in each territory. The person with the most cubes in a territory will score points for that territory. In this case, yellow has 2 cubes, both red and green have 1 cube, and yellow will score this one. In this case, red has 2 cubes and green has 1, therefore red will take that one. In this territory, green and red both have 2 cubes, therefore it is a draw and neither player will score points for that territory. Territories are worth 4 points each. After scoring has been completed, you'll move the battle tracker to the center of the board and you'll remove all the cubes. Then you will begin the next round. After the final scoring phase and players have tallied up all their points, the player with the most amount of points wins. Now let's get into the review. Mike liked this game so much he wanted to be in the review part, so here he is.
This game is great. Radiant, the design of the game is spectacular. The flow, the playability, you can play pretty much anybody in this game. 8 years old can do it. It reminds me of Hearts and War. It's got that set collection aspect, and it is solid. This is probably my favorite play-tested game of 2016 that we had the privilege of playing. And I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy. There is a huge amount of skill in the game, as well as a little bit of memory, tactical strategy involving the area control aspects on the board, and I really, really think you guys should check this out. This is the only reason I'm popping in this video, just to say that, and we'll have John continue with the rest of his review right now.
I actually like the drafting aspect, because drafting is one of my favorite mechanics in games, in any game, really. It's why I play a lot of card games. The art on this game is also really, really good. The only problem I have is there's no real theme backing up the art.
Yeah, there really isn't. There's not a lot of theme to it. There's four different races, and they're kind of just wanting to be in control of this place, I guess.
But right now we also have the prototype version, so he could put more story into the rules.
Do so.
Probably. It would be quite nice.
The game's speed?
Oh, it's a very fast game. Once you actually learn how to play, you could probably play a game in 20 minutes. And it's a fairly heavy game, even though it's a fast game.
We should also mention in 4 players, you get that 2-on-2. You can't it's not 4 separate players at 4 players. It's actually a team-based game at 4 players. We have 2 players with the same color, but you can't really use any table talk or talk about the cards in your hand. So you're working together, but you have to use your memory to remember what they have in their hand. And so basically they can't say, oh, this player has this card in their hand, so don't play this card. But you kind of work together nonetheless.
Yep. Another thing that I don't remember if we mentioned before is the Assassin card. The Assassin card in the game is the weakest card when played in a battle, but you get the special ability of it potentially becoming whatever card. You get to call out a card from your opponent's hand, and if they have that card, it becomes that card.
And the Phalanx is obviously the strongest card in the game. It's got a little shield with the little swords through it. However, there's a mounted knight card you can technically get, which is actually 2 cards put together. It's a mount and a knight. And that will beat any card in the game, including the Assassin, because the Assassin can only pick a Phalanx, provided the other player has a Phalanx in their hand, and then that Phalanx would be able to beat any other Phalanx. And we also didn't mention, too, that when a player plays a card from their hand, I don't know, maybe they're the 3rd player, and they played the Phalanx. Well, let's say the 1st player played a Phalanx, and they were both either Radiant or on the color. Then the player who played it first would be the winner. It wouldn't be the 3rd player. So playing the same exact card would not help you in a oncoming turn.
Yeah, the person who went first trumps the hand, basically.
And Assassins cannot ever call out Mounted Knight because it's actually 2 cards and not just 1. Yeah, that's basically the game. That's basically my thoughts on it.
Yep.
It's amazing. You should definitely check this out. Overall, this game is, especially for a Kickstarter, like simple. It's a very simple, small, flowy game. It's beautiful in every way. This game is probably a 9.5 out of 10 as far as any game I've ever reviewed
I
currently.
completely agree with that statement.
So I definitely do check it out. Randall Marsh is an excellent designer, and this game is going to go far. We just need to get people looking at it. You should definitely share this video, and please, please, please back this game. I cannot recommend it enough.
Yep, same here.
All right, guys.
This has been another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter game review. If you've liked this video, please like, subscribe, and comment, as well as check out our website, theunfilteredgamer.com, and our affiliated websites, thegiveawaygeek.com, and everythingboardgames.com. They have giveaways and other interesting things going on. Alright, see you guys next time. To 60 minutes, and we assume it's about ages 12 plus. The box doesn't actually say. Welcome to another brain fart. Do you want to be redundant?
Yeah.
Okay. Everythingboardgames.com. I should probably do see you next time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, you really liked this game so much that you want it to be in the video.
Yeah, that's fine.